Right? Okay. Do I regret not going to college? Kind of yes and no. Yes, because I think I could have learned a lot more about maybe my English, my math, and stuff. What I've learned now is because of experience. But no, because in my time when I was looking for a job, I really was able to land a good job. So I didn't really need the college experience. If I would have had at least a degree, even my AA, I know that at the job that I have now, I would have gotten at least maybe $50 to $100 more a month because of a degree. And because I don't have a degree, it's just a pay. I wouldn't have gotten a stipend or a bonus because of a degree. Okay, so do I think going to college is worth it? Yes. Now these days, you have to have some kind of college degree or education, because working in HR, I see all these applications that are coming in, and the ones that they look at are the ones that have already finished either their schooling, or they have at least their associate's degree or their bachelor's degree. And it's a tough place right now because a lot of people are looking for jobs and do have the degrees, but they're the ones that people look for. So do I think it's important to go to college? Definitely, because there is so much more out there to experience and to have knowledge about.
Do I regret not going to college? Yes, I do, because I think I would have a better paying job if I did have going to college affect me. Well, it goes back to the first question. I mean, it affects my income. It affects the way I live, and the way we struggle by not having a degree. The chance, would I go back to college? Absolutely yes. I mean, that is one of my biggest regrets, is not going to college. I really feel going to college is worth it because it gives you so many opportunities. You may go into college thinking that you're going to be a certain thing, but you fall in love with a certain class. You have certain interests, and that just opens the world up to you. I mean, education is key to being successful nowadays. In the olden days, if you get a good job, you'll be fine. You're able to support a family, but now you can't. You need an education. You need a higher paying job, and that's why college is important.
Did I enjoy college? Most definitely. I enjoyed it because I got to meet a lot of lifelong friends, people who I still connect with today. I also got to play basketball after high school on the college level, which was something that I really enjoyed doing. I met my husband in college. It was a fun time because I had no parameters other than to get my education and to be with friends and meet friends. I had no bills to pay or job restraints put on me, so that it was a fun time. I'd love to go back if I could in that time of my life.
Other people should go to college.
Do I think other people should go to college? Most definitely. It will benefit them in the long run, no matter what career choice they make. It is well worth it. It gets them out of their comfort zone of home, and it allows them to expand their knowledge, their marketability. Even though I have a degree in education, it's allowed me to expand into the medical field because I have a degree in education, a college education. It made me more marketable. And it's also good for people to expand their knowledge of people around them, the cultures around them, and it's a really good thing to have and to experience.
Do you think college is worth it?
Yes, I think that college was well worth it because I was able to live out on my own, make some critical choices while obtaining an education. I had to be self-sufficient. I met new people. I met different kinds of people. And it was a safe way to start out on my own with the safety net of being in college while working on a career and meeting new people.
through college degrees and the jobs you could land with them, and I just keep going back to how overpriced it all is. Is it even worth it? That's a really interesting question, not just to prospective college students, but also to people in their mid-30s still paying off their college loans, so let's examine it. Now, of course, most people outside of the United States will be like, of course university is worth it. University is free, or at least very inexpensive. We also have subsidized education here in the United States, but it's much less subsidized. So here, if you live in Indiana, for instance, Indiana University costs about $10,000. If you don't live in Indiana, it costs about $30,000 a year. So is it worth it? Well, let's say you spend $100,000 on college, including like $60,000 in student loans. With interest, you're going to pay about $80,000 total on those loans, so your total college cost will be $120,000. Except you will also have spent a lot of time writing papers and attending classes and going to supposedly epic frat parties that are never actually very fun, because even as you're dancing and drinking and talking to vaguely attractive strangers, there's this omnipresent gnawing feeling in your gut that nothing means anything, and you feel this endless existential isolation. Was that just me? Right, so anyway, you're doing all of that when you might be working. That's called opportunity cost. On the other hand, the $80,000 that you spend will actually be slightly less than $80,000 would have been because of inflation. I'm gonna ballpark here and just say that your college cost is like $140,000 in this example. But then you have 50-ish years of labor force drudgery to look forward to. Now, again, we have to deal with inflation and stuff, but let's just say that if you make $175,000 more than you would have made, then college was worth it. So how much in per hour earnings over your career does a college degree have to generate in order to be worth it? About $1.75.
We have a bubble in education like we had a bubble in housing in the last decade. Everybody believed you had to have a house and they'd pay whatever it took. Today, everybody believes that we need to go to college and people will pay whatever it takes.
You've described college administrators as the subprime mortgage lenders, in other words, con men. You think there's
not all of them, but certainly the for-profit schools, the less good colleges are like the subprime lenders, where people are being conned into thinking that this credential is the one thing you need to do better in life. And they're actually not any better off after having gone to college. They typically are worse off because they've amassed all this debt.
You think if the bubble bursts, it's a good thing?
I don't think bubbles bursting are ever good things. I think they are inevitable things.
For Teal, success seemed inevitable. Child prodigy, chess champion, arrogantly self-confident. He breezed through Stanford undergrad and law schools. With his Midas touch, he took the millions he made as a co-founder of PayPal and turned that into billions as the first investor in Facebook. A megaphone is saying, don't go to college. Is that what you really mean?
I'm saying that people should think hard about why they're going to college. If your life plan is to be a professor or to be a doctor or some other career where you need a specific credential, you should and probably have to go to college. If your plan is to do something very different, you should think really hard about it.
The educational establishment dismissed the idea as dangerous, nasty, and misguided.
Our thought was, this is going to be a very idiosyncratic small program. And the fact that it was controversial was a big surprise to us, but it was because an awful lot of parents are quite worried about the education system. There's a great deal of anxiety beneath the surface.
With only half of recent college graduates in full-time jobs and college debt topping $1 trillion, Teal believes college has become just another debt-fueled luxury.
I did not realize how screwed up the education system is. We now have $1 trillion in student debt in the U.S. That $1 trillion, if you want to describe it cynically, you can say it's paid for $1 trillion of lies about how good education is.
That's such a sweeping statement. You're suggesting that people graduate as either dunces or ne'er-do-wells. There's been a huge number of people who've contributed extraordinarily to this society in the last 20, 30 years. We live longer lives because of those people.
Yes, we have a society where successful people are encouraged to go to college, but it's a mistake to think that that's what makes people successful.
But what you're saying suggests a concentration on all of the practical things in life. But some of the impractical things in life are the most valuable.
That's not always true. People say that. Sometimes they are. Sometimes they are just impractical things that are of little value. And you have to look at the cost side of the equation. It costs up to $250,000 to go through 4 years of college today. Unfortunately, you have to think about the practical things, and are you actually going to get a job where you can pay off this incredible debt you take on?
He may have a point about the cost. College tuition has quadrupled since 1980, but Thiel says many colleges are unaccountable, bloated institutions where students are learning less than ever before. He says a degree has little more than snob value.
There are all sorts of vocational careers that pay extremely well today. So the average plumber makes as much as the average doctor.
By some calculations, he's absolutely right. And in terms of successful college dropouts, he has his legion of examples.
Mark Zuckerberg from Facebook didn't complete Harvard. Steve Jobs dropped out of Reed College. Bill Gates dropped out of Harvard. When you do something entrepreneurial, the credentials are not what really matters. What matters is having the right idea at the right time, the right place.
But all of the examples you give are people who had a very serious brush with higher education, all of them pretty much in elite schools.
It's not causal. You know, Harvard does a great job at picking the winners, and therefore it should get very little credit for turning people into winners.
Well, the same could be applied to your program.
Yes, but the difference is that my program does not involve charging people $250,000.